Hello and welcome to the Kindergarten Speakers Series at the Children's Museum of Richmond. These series are intended to provide support to parents, caregivers, and their children with practical advice in their transition to kindergarten.
Okay, so the basic transitional skills that we look for in kindergartners are they able to use the restroom by themselves? We look for the basic separation anxiety, making sure that they're okay with leaving mom and dad. We look for maybe the independence of putting their coats on, fastening their buttons and things of that nature. We work a lot on the academics, so we don't expect too much academically right when they come in. Just mainly that social, emotional, being able to work well with others is the main things that we look for.
Yeah.
All right.
And that sense of when your child becomes independent, they're a little bit more independent, they're a little bit more confident, they're, at that time that they're ready to take risk, they're making friends. Those are other indicators, I think, that my child is ready for kindergarten, they're ready for that next step.
We look for simple following 1 or 2 step directions from their adults, their teachers, or any adult, those type of thing. Being able to ask when they need help is a big one, because some of them are a little timid at first.
Yes.
But encouraging them to ask when they need help and be able to just follow those simple step directions.
I think that it's those simple, little everyday things that we do, those, I call them everyday learning opportunities. Like you said, it's not like we have to teach the skills or parents have to worry about the skills. It's more about setting that foundation, and I'm growing this little independent human. And, this one child's not going to be exactly like this other child. I think about this time of year, we have all these flowers, and you go into a greenhouse and every one of the geraniums is blooming at the exact same time. Well, our kids are totally different. They don't all bloom at the same time. So we just have to be ready as adults and give them those challenges and give them those experiences so that they can become more independent. We're like the secure home base. But as far as getting them to listen and follow the multiple step directions, it's part of growing up, taking care of your toys, putting your things away, helping us set the table, sorting the laundry. There's little learning opportunities in all of those things, from counting and sorting and comparing to just vocabulary development too. And then there's those independent skills built in there also. So playing games too is another way to help your child learn to take turns and actually learn to lose too, which is, I think, sharing, taking turns. Those type of social things are super important when you come to kindergarten.
You can, like she said, play with games. Even if it's just the only child, I would encourage the parents to do something with them and say, okay, well, let me use this first, and then when I'm finished, then you can use it. It doesn't necessarily have to be with another kid if you don't have other children at home.
Exactly.
But I say get them out there, get them exposed to other children, or whether it's going to the park, taking turns. This kid's on the steps first, so you wait for them, and then you can go on. So there's a lot of different things you can do, even if there's no other children at home that you can practice with.
There's a lot of good books too out there that we can read, and that's another great activity for parents to do with their children. Obviously, it's the foundation for everything, but books can also help children understand a concept like sharing or empathy, that type of thing, and all those you will need when you come to kindergarten.
And we definitely encourage reading to your kid. Get them build that love for reading, understanding how to hold a book and things like that. So just incorporating all of those aspects will help them. Okay, so we do a lot of the basic skills in kindergarten starting off, but we do want the students to at least can recite the alphabet song, maybe recognize a couple letters. We do work on sounds in kindergarten, so the sound not so much, unless they can, but we don't press on it too hard. We work on counting orally to 10 in the beginning of the kindergarten school year. counting objects. So even if you have like, how many muffins do you have on your plate? Have them practice counting that. Recognizing and knowing the basic colors and the basic shapes are like generally where we start with in kindergarten. So just start like over the summer pointing out shapes. Can you tell me what shape that is? Or maybe they can go on a scavenger hunt to find different things. So not too extensive, but just start with the basics is all we say.
And I love that you're saying the basics because at the museum we work with the basics, and one of them is count, group, and compare. So I want parents to please just do it playfully.
Yes.
Don't stress out about, oh, now my child needs to know all these things because guess what? That's why they come to school.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what we do.
But I'll make it playful.
Right, you're in it for the long haul, you know,
Yes.
like we just want to get our children excited about learning, so just follow their interests, whatever they're interested in. There's all these little everyday learning opportunities that you can teach something, you know, like, oh, you're walking down the hall and look at the pattern in the tile floors, or look at the shape of the tiles, or you're driving down the road and you notice a stop sign and you talk about, oh, my name starts with an S, there's an S over there on that sign. Just notice the things in your environmental print. I think if a parent is excited about school and shows that they're excited about school, no matter what trepidation they have, because kids pick up on, you know, our emotions.
Yes.
If the parents are excited, then the child's going to be excited. You can drive by the school. When there's an opportunity for an open house or to meet the teacher, you're going to do all those things, hopefully, if you can fit it in your schedule. If there's a mascot at the school, you could start talking about the school mascot. Like here it's the Road Runners. You're going to be a Road Runner. If possibly there's a play group of children in your neighborhood that you could get together so your child gets a little play group of friends and get some confidence within that play group, that would be another nice thing to do too. But yeah, just every opportunity you can be super positive, I think. What about you, Brittany?
And I would just add for kindergarten registration, bring your child with you, because that is the first opportunity that they'll be able to meet their teacher. And then in most schools we do what we call like a kindergarten screening, where the teacher and the student go in like a little area, same spot as their parents, but a few tables away, and they get to conversate with them and get to meet them. So I've definitely encouraged them to please come to the kindergarten registration.
Start building those relationships right away. So that's another thing parents can do to get their child prepared, is just have a schedule to like start waking up at this time you're going to need to wake up to get ready for school, practice with the lunch containers, give your child the independence to do zippers and buttons and that type of thing, because kids want to feel confident and independent when they go make this next step.
All right, so here at Chalkley, we have what we call morning meeting, or like what we consider our circle time. It looked a little different this year, but hopefully we can get back to the floor where the students and I interact. We do like SEL experiments or conversations like, how do you feel? And they get to conversate with one another. We do our morning greeting. I give the morning message. After that, we transition into our learning and academics. It is a busy and a long day because we do cover all core areas: reading, math, science, social studies, writing, and word study. But we do incorporate lots of like 10-minute breaks. Here at Chalkley, we're going to have 2 recesses. So the students get 2 20-minute recesses, like one in the beginning part of the day, one in the afternoon, just to break it up because it is a lot for them. But one change is we do not have naps in kindergarten anymore. So the kids will come home tired. I say at least a month, sometimes 2 months, because a lot of them are used to taking naps. So that's one thing that we, if you could do anything, try to like transition to shorter naps or no naps eventually over the summer. But it's a very structured day in kindergarten, but we do have lots and lots and lots of fun. I know we're about to start our chick unit, where we're going to start incubating some eggs when we come back from spring break, and the kids get to help take care of the eggs, and when they hatch, they'll help, we practice the needs of plants and animals. So they'll help us take care of those and like review those skills.
I love it.
But yeah,
Beautiful.
definitely structured,
Yes.
definitely routine, definitely a long day, but we do incorporate lots and lots of breaks and fun activities.
Fun and songs and
Yes.
movement.
Lots of
Movement
videos,
is
lots
so
of dancing,
important.
lots of movement. The kids are able to like not sit at their tables all the time and have like desk seats or lap desks. They can find a spot on the floor if they want to. So it's not always sitting at your desk. There are some times where they do that, but it's not all day. We do have small group instruction where we have reading instruction and math instruction in small groups, so they're not learning all together. We're able to meet them where they are at their needs. So students who might need a little bit more support will get that from us, and it's working out a lot. So it's a busy, long day, but the kids love it.
Yeah, so I think a lot of us as parents think that our child has to have certain academic milestones, like being able to read and write before they even get to kindergarten, and that's really not true. Kids have to have some basic developmental milestones, so it's great if they can speak in sentences and be completely understood by an adult or a stranger. It's good for them to be able to regulate their emotions and their behavior, be able to get along with other kids. It's good for them to have some general fine motor and gross motor skills, but just that general development is really what they need. And so all the things we talk about in terms of the basics of development, talking, reading together, playing, those are more important than being able to read or write. Reading and writing is really what they focus on when they are in kindergarten. Yeah, it's a great question, and I know in the summertime sometimes our school routines are a little bit off. We get to a little bit later bedtime, not always the same meal times and things like that. So it's good to sort of maybe 2 or 3 weeks ahead of the beginning of school, make sure that you get onto the sort of the schedule that you will be on when you're in school. So that's really important to have a healthy bedtime. That means 8 o'clock at the latest, maybe before that, between 7 and 8, think about getting ready for bed. Having a good night's sleep, at least for a kindergartner, at least 10 hours of sleep. Having healthy meals. And again, if you're nervous, it's great to talk about it. It's great to do things that help you feel calm and ready. It's great to visit the school ahead of time, talk to the teacher. The school is a wonderful resource to help you manage that stress and help everyone feel excited about this transition. I just want to remind everyone that when you register for kindergarten before the first day of school, you do need to see your pediatrician or your family physician, whatever your healthcare provider is, to do a kindergarten physical. They'll give you a copy of your vaccinations, make sure all your vaccinations are up to date for age, and they'll do a physical exam based on a visit in the past year. So it's important to get that done before the first day of school. So when you register for kindergarten, you need to go to the doctor and get a kindergarten physical exam. In order to register, you need to show that you've had all of your vaccines and that you've had a physical exam with your pediatrician or family physician in the last 1 year. So we're going to practice today with Seymour. Hi, Seymour. How are you doing today? You getting ready for kindergarten? Oh, good. I'm Dr. Nelson. We're going to do a few things to make sure you're healthy and ready to start school. Okay, the first thing we want to do is see how big you are, how much you've grown. Let's come over here and we will see how tall you are. If you can stand up with your back, turn around. Yeah, good job. Back to the wall. Stand up tall, and we see how tall you are. Very good. And then we also want to see how much you weigh. You can stand on the scale, step on the scale, and we'll see how much you weigh. Wonderful. Oh my goodness, you've grown, Seymour. Getting big. All that good food you've been eating, yeah? Good. So we have to check a few things to make sure you're healthy and ready to start school, okay? None of these things hurt. The first thing I'm going to do is listen to your heart. Do you know where your heart is, Seymour? That's right. I'm going to listen to the left side of your chest. Boom, 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 boom. Sounds good. Do you want to listen? All right, let's see. Gotta find your ears. Good job. There we go. Do you hear it? All right, very good. Then I listen to your breathing. So I'm gonna listen to the front and the back of your chest to make sure your lungs are nice and healthy. Can you take a deep breath in? Good. Blow out. Good job. Deep breath in. Blow out. One more time. Good job. Thank you so much. The next thing I want to do is look in your mouth I'm gonna take my light and shine it in and say, I can see your teeth. Are you brushing those teeth? Good job. Next thing, I'm gonna look in your ears. Gonna take a quick look and make sure that they're nice and healthy so you can listen to your teacher. Good job. All right, then we might do a few more things, like have you squat down and stand up. Yay, and walk on your heels and walk on your toes. All right, give me high five. You did great, Seymour.
I think that just like with our kids, what I'm sure was said in the other Kindergarten Readiness series episodes, which I think bears reiterating, is about practicing. Practicing managing those transitions, being able to imbue that confidence in our children that they can do this, that this is not going to be the end of the world, that 7 hours in the classroom or however long that school day is for the first day of kindergarten is going to have an end, and they're going to come back home and hug that parent or caregiver and have that time. We want to instill in our kids that confidence. The same goes for parents.
Exactly.
That parents need to practice that as well. If your child has, we have a lot of parents, even these days, who are saying goodbye to their kids for the first time at that kindergarten door at the bus stop. And we as parents need to practice that too. If you're a parent who's never had a night out with your child staying with anybody but your mother-in-law, a trusted family member, maybe it means stretching outside that and finding some other trusted other who can be that person who can take care of your child even for a few hours. It might be, as Candace and I were talking about earlier, it might be joining a play group, providing opportunities for your child to interact with other children as well as other adults who might even be in an authority figure type role, in a teacher type role, that your child needs to practice that, but we as parents need to practice stepping away as well. In addition to being the director of mental health at Child Savers, my wife and I raised over 50 kids in foster care in our home over the course of 8 years, and I got to be a stay-at-home parent for our child, who's now 14, for the first 5 years of his life. So I walk through a lot of these experiences as a parent and a caregiver as well. And I think we as parents need to practice those experiences, because I'm going to have anxiety as a parent, just like my kid will, if the first time we separate is at that kindergarten bus stop or the front door of the school. And so we need to practice that separation just like our kids do.
So, talking about practice, first thing is like the first year or so of Kiana's life, Kiana was at work with me every day. But as she got older, I think about 2 or 3, we did join a gym at the time. And of course, when you join a gym, a lot of them have like the child care. And so that was a part of my practice. When I would go to the gym, she was able to go into the area with the other kids and experience that time being away from me. But also I had family and friends that she also was able to go with and spend time with outside of me. My middle child, not necessarily. He was like, I want to be with mom, I want to be with mom. He did start with preschool, but I ended up having to pull him out because he just did not want to be there. He was a little young, a little younger than the other children. But for someone that may not have the ability to be able to pull their child out, there are still some things that I probably could have done to help him, like I did with my youngest. Having her exposed to other children at the child care area in the gym, or other friends and family kids. So yeah, my oldest was very sociable from a very young age. We have this little joke that she's been talking since she came out of the womb. So I really didn't have an issue with her, starting. She didn't do preschool or anything, but she was okay. with being left at school and getting on the bus or whatever have you.
I think that's a beautiful example of how kids are different, and even
Yes,
kids
exactly.
growing up in the same household, kids growing up with the same caregivers
Yes.
are going to be diverse and different, and different kids need different things. And we also have the opportunity to lean on experts. That you had the advisors of the teachers at the school who had a different perspective than you did
Right.
in terms of whether they were going to be able to manage, which is inevitably the anxiety that we have as parents of, these people don't know how to take care of my kid as good as I do. These kids aren't going to love my kid as much as I do. So part of managing that transition for the anxiety of a parent is to make sure that the first time that we meet that caregiver of our child, that teacher, is not the first day of kindergarten.
Exactly.
And that we've had the time to ask those questions to infuse ourselves with confidence. Feelings are one thing. Overwhelming feelings are something different. We probably shouldn't telegraph our overwhelming feelings, but it's okay to acknowledge and be honest about our own feelings. And then it's what we do with those feelings, how we catastrophize, how we think that the world's going to end, the phrase that I've used a couple times. And it's okay for me to say, I'm anxious, but we're going to get through this. I'm anxious, but you know what? You're going to go to school for the first day on Tuesday, and Tuesday afternoon, you're going to come home. Tuesday night, we're going to have a fun celebration about your first day of school, and this is how we're going to get through it, and this is what we have to look forward to, which is, it's okay to be anxious, but if all we do is focus on that anxiety instead of, again, the celebrations, that you did this, the accomplishment, the bravery that our kids are gonna have to pull out of their soul for the first day of school to be able to walk in that classroom and spend those hours away from that parent, that we need to role model that for our kids. And if all I do is focus on my anxiety, then I'm gonna be a wreck of a day that first day too, and I don't want my kid or me, quite frankly, to feel that way.
Yes, my older children, they were able to ride with us when we, dropped her off. The first day, as far as the littlest one, I had family members that called the night before. I'm like, hey, I just want to say, hope you have a great day tomorrow, and I'm going to call you tomorrow to see how your day is when you get out. I had other family members that came up to the school, with not just us. So it was like that whole village, connecting, Ask as many questions as you can to learn about the school, the teacher. It gives that child the opportunity to see the school so that the first time isn't the first day. It gets the child able to meet other children because other children are there. You mentioned about sometimes they have the buses where the kids can get on the bus if they're a bus rider. So it's very important.
We also talked about engaging with other parents, joining the PTA or whatever kind of entity exists to rally parents together. Oftentimes those kick off before the beginning of the school year. I know there are a lot of schools, I think about Chimborazo Elementary in the east end of Richmond City, that historically does a great job of going and chalking the walk, of going and writing positive celebratory messages on the sidewalks and the walkways around the school, so that when kids are coming for their first day, whether they're a fifth grader or a kindergartner, that they're welcomed in by positive messages, a you can do it attitude. There are schools that kind of have a hero's walk, where parents will kind of create that line where kids are flanked by parents as they walk in from the buses or from the car rider line, so that they can, again, it's a celebratory experience, which helps parents be involved, but be appropriately hands-off as well. Engaged, but not enmeshed and immersed in that school day experience that needs to be separate from us. They don't need us to be the parent volunteer on day one of the classroom experience, because they need that separation, because that's how we create the future adults that we want our kids to someday be.
Well, we all know that there's lots of skills that children need to start school to be the most successful they can be. And social emotional skills are at the top of the list. Social skills. So we think about that as being able to get along with other children, and that certainly is helpful. But it's also being able to get along with the adults in a school. That can be paying attention, that can be following directions, that can be following the school schedule. So there's different components to the social skills that can be really helpful to allow children to be successful. And then on the emotional level, for me, it's really two different components. One is being able to separate from their parents. Some children if they've never been to school before, you're gonna be away from your family for 6 hours in a day. How can we work on that? But then also dealing with strong feelings.
Right.
We know that everybody has feelings, and what can we do when we're having a strong feeling about something? When we're talking about separating from parents and being able to go away from them for a period of time, if they're not used to that, then we can gradually build up to that. So it might be a mom might have her child stay at home with a trusted family member or friend and maybe take a walk around the block. Just a short time to be away. And then maybe she goes and does an errand. Or maybe she goes and has some self-care for herself. Or father or grandmother, whoever the adult might be. So we're gradually helping them be able to be away from their parents or their family members for a period of time. There's a great book called The Kissing Hand that the mom kisses the child's hand so he can hold on to it throughout the school day because he's a little bit nervous about going to school for the first time.
Right.
And that's a wonderful book to read if you feel like your child might be a little bit nervous. Because some children, feelings require and create energy in our body. And so sometimes if they're like this, we need to get it out. But sometimes we need to calm it down.
Right.
If you can make it fun.
Right.
We smell the flower with our nose. We blow out the candle with our mouth. Smell the flower, blow out the candle. I did that quickly. There's other ways of breathing. Sometimes we do palm breathing where I trace my hand. So I breathe in when I go up.
Okay.
And I breathe out when I go down.
Oh, I love this one. You can close your eyes if you want to.
Absolutely.
And this is so visual.
I love hot chocolate breathing, so you pretend to hold hot chocolate. So here's your hot chocolate. It smells so good. Smell it. Oh, but it's really hot. Blow on it. You also can take a small container and put these things in it.
Right.
So it's right there, able to be used when the child needs it.
Yes.
If your child is in preschool, they might have a cozy corner or a calm down corner or a quiet corner. You can certainly create that in your home where there's a quiet area with all of this stuff. So you don't have to go searching for it. So the important thing with this is that we know social and emotional skills can be taught. Everybody has skills we're good at. Everybody has skills we need to work on a little bit. They can be taught through practice, both in the moment when it's happening, but also afterwards. What could you have done? What's another way to deal with this? So social and emotional skills are, while academics are important, language are important, all these other skills are important, social and emotional skills are, for me, right up there with some of the most important skills to help children get ready for school.